dads. See, that's a Mike. Shut up, Mike. Mike, you could record the right one too. That's the wrong one, Mike. Council of Dads. Where's my gavel, Joe? Where's my gavel? No, you're supposed to print this beautiful dice-laden gavel. Now we're just going to Foley 101.
Come
What
in.
the heck are we doing here? Are we at Little Red Robin Hood's house?
Little Red Robin Hood.
Yeah, she stole from the wolf to give to the grandma. Have you not heard that story? Seriously?
So what do we think about what?
Families versus companies. What do you think about when a company says, we're a family?
No, we're not.
But see, I brought it up specifically because I think we're going to land on we're going to have a Venn diagram, I do believe here. Because I believe, if my guess is correct, Kurt's going to lean into why his company is a family and this and that and the other. Joe, you work for a major corporation that they don't even say, I hope they don't say we're a family.
Oh, they do.
Oh, no. And I'm in this middle ground of really building a tight-knit team that is easy to call a family. And
I've heard stories about yours. You're not a family either. well, I guess you could be a dysfunctional family.
I own the misfit toys.
No. So I
okay.
did.
No, wait a minute. Now, Hugh, that's cheating because he literally works with his brother and his mother. So my company is my family. Is Hugh?
Yeah, but Hugh doesn't realize that they're going to fire him tomorrow.
Oh, I hope so, because he'll move down here.
They'll be like, "Sorry, you were adopted by."
So,
no.
My quick easy answer, Joe said. Wait, well, Joe, you said no. Kurt, what's your quick easy answer?
It's not quick and easy because most of the time it's a lie.
But
and so there are exceptions. There are exceptions, and they're usually smaller companies. And like for the company that I work for, look, it's owned by my best friend, right? And we've been working together for 15 to 20 years. So it is different. His wife works for the company now. And we work hard to prove to the employees that we're not like other companies. And just an easy example is most companies have a 3-strike rule, right? If you do something wrong, you get a verbal warning. If you do something wrong again, you get a written warning. And then the third one, you're fired, right? We don't do that. And when we are advised by our HR company to put that into effect, we fight against that. We have performance improvement plans that do not equal at the end of this, you're fired, which most companies, if you're on a performance improvement plan, you're fired. It's just a matter of time. We work really hard against that. And it's because people have been burned so hard by so many companies, and I have as well. And once I learned that companies really don't care about you, then things are easier.
It's a much deeper conversation. We don't have the 4 hours going to, so maybe we'll do a part 2 on another show. But my overly easy answer, which again, you're right, Kurt, it's not easy, is companies, corporations particularly, shouldn't care about you, because that's the thing is that you cannot be loyal to a company. You can be loyal to the people in the company. You and your best friend, y'all have done a great job, it sounds like. But you've had other jobs where I'm sure Activation, I don't know where, I forget where you all worked, but I'm sure there's somewhere in your history where you worked for a good person, and when they were gone, the company did other things. But that's the thing at the end of the day, being at the top end of my company, it's like, okay, we got to make things work for everybody, but also I call it balance and flow. You know, we do find that middle ground of personal responsibility, but that's where we take it. The company on paper is that it could go under tomorrow, it could sell tomorrow, whatever. But the people inside of it work. So my easy answer is, secondly, I don't like my family. I mean, I like my immediate family, but not all the time, right? Maybe my wife fights sometimes. Sometimes I get crazy with my kid, whatever. But no matter what, with true family, they're your family. Like my kid could do horrible things. I would still love him. I'd want him to get consequences for his actions, but I would still love him and want better for him.
Yep.
But you guys, I mean, not really you guys, but like you're my coworkers. You guys, I like you guys. I love being here. But if we stop working together, well, okay, this is not true for us. But your jobs, we stop working together. I might not even ever think about you again. You know, I'll forget your name. We probably won't cross paths because for the most part, you don't have people working together 15, 20 years.
Right.
Like you did, Kurt. Most part, you have Joe over here. Joe, you've been with your company for a number of years. Since you've been on the show with me from Pokemon to here, you've changed departments at least once. I don't think more than that, but yeah,
just once.
But,
yeah, this past year.
And do you meet on Sunday for brunch with the old team?
Once a month we go out to eat lunch. Yeah,
the old team.
Well, the people we like.
Okay, good. Okay, so that you can't have people you like. But if that brunch fell off, would it be the end of the world for you?
I talk to them on Facebook and send memes to them and stuff. Like
okay, you made some.
It wouldn't be the end of the world, but yes, we are friends.
That's all I'm saying. You're friends, which is great. That's a different level than I have. I don't want friends at work typically. I really don't. But it's okay. But you wouldn't be calling family, would you?
My second child is somewhat named after one of the people I work with.
Was no, companies are not family. So now you're
the company is not family, but there are some people that I work with, a couple of coworkers that they're a bit more than friends. I don't know if I'd full on call them like maybe cousins. We'll go with cousins, like not immediate family. But like the internship that I worked at in college, that was probably the most family like full company that I've ever worked at. The CEO came around talking to people. If we had a good quarter, he would walk around and hand out $100 checks to everybody. He would just spontaneously be like, all right, hey, I'm getting lunch
the last time
for
you give
everybody.
$100 check to Kelsey? I'm just saying.
He would just be like, okay, I'm buying lunch for everybody, and he'd do that about once a month, to be honest. And then he'd have these huge parties after work, be like, all right, everybody, you're done at this time, stay on the clock though, and we're gonna have this party. And he'd raffle off stuff, and depending on how long you'd been at the company was the number of, they actually used a bingo roller, and they put names on golf balls, and the number of golf balls that you had in there was the number of years you'd been at the company. And so they'd spin that around and pull people out, and every single time one of the prizes was the CEO's jet skis. And you could take the monetary value of that if you wanted, or you could take the jet skis and he would just go buy his family new jet skis. And so
I like that life. And the underlings are happy. You're happy. It's all good.
And usually there was
that's better than family.
Yeah. One of the prizes was usually a 10-day paid vacation for two, usually a cruise. And like, yeah, it was, he had a lot of fun with it. And he was always wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and he would just walk around and talk to everybody. And he didn't make himself like bigger than everyone just because he owned the company. And so that was probably the biggest experience that I've had at a company that felt like family.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a differentiator between friends that you make while you're working also and the company itself. Like what was funny is you were talking about the meal thing. The company that I work for, every Tuesday morning we have a breakfast meeting together, and we all meet at a diner. And
how many of you are there though?
10.
Okay. That's a decent number.
Yeah. And when somebody can't make it, it's a problem, because we'd rather have everybody there with us. So and it drives people crazy a little bit because we don't answer phones during that time. It's just that's our kind of sacred time together. So it is a little unusual. Yeah, and so one of the things that you were talking about family versus the company, Facebook, other than people that I was friends with before they started working with the company, I do not ever add business associates
Yeah, not really.
on my Facebook. And not because I'm afraid of what they say. It's a line of delineation for me. I will add them to LinkedIn all day long. I don't care.
Yeah.
But on Facebook, that's personal and business is business. And I keep
I
things
took a
separate.
slightly different angle of that. Mine was not that it's personal and business, because I've lived my life out loud. It was, I don't mess with you like that. You know, I was like, nah, we can be friendly at work, but I don't give her, I have no interest in
Yeah.
any of your comments on what I do in my life. I do not want to see your life. I just don't mess with you like that. So yeah.
Well, and if you stop working for the company, how many people would you be friends with moving forward?
Me is zero, pretty much.
Well, and so Joe, it sounds like you'd have a few.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's normal. Like I go back to like all the companies that I've worked for. How many people am I still friendly with and remember? Because you forget people really quickly if you're not really involved with them. And it's like 2 or 3 from every company I've worked for, and maybe less in some of the companies. Yeah, it's not much.
Well, and mine, it's a handful of people after working with them for 11 years.
Right.
Like it's not. I worked there for a year, and I've got friends forever. Like, no, I worked there for 11 years.
Yeah.
So.
And Hugh, that's a whole different ball game. He talked about how I gave him my address and phone number first time we talked, which is true, but there's a long story behind that, and we weren't working together. So I get that I am a different person. I go to work to get out of it what I need for my family, and I go home. I am friendly with people, and some jobs I've actually gotten close enough to somebody that, yeah, we did, while we were working together, we did go hang out with our wives, and watch a movie. I got introduced to sushi by a work friend. Once that job went away, though, we kind of touched base. It's not, if we saw each other, hey man, it's been a long time, we would have a moment, but we're not messaging each other. We're not sending little memes to each other. We're not knowing what's going on in each other's families unless you really watch Facebook. It's yeah. So I'm just not cut out of that cloth. And even though I really connect with people when I'm helping them grow as a human being, I have realized also with that, because it's happened, I've been at this company now for 4 years. And in that time, I've nurtured a number of people and watched them leave. And some of them, like, really, because we're having hour-long conversations every day about growth of them as a person and a manager, and how they can work with people. But then not just how they left, which was not great, but it was just that separation. Like, oh, I really do live in the now and in the sphere. So when you're in my sphere, we're together, but when we're not, I mean, Phil and I, like, we do not talk even once a month sometimes, but when we're together, we're almost inseparable. And that's not a work thing, but that's just a how I am thing. So as I'm building, I have people who really want to buy into the vision. And when you buy into the vision, kind of what you're talking about, Kurt, there sounds like maybe Joe, with that other great example you gave of the jet ski boss, you're buying into the vision. The culture is another thing. The culture is really good in there. And I kept having people say, man, we're like a family. I was like, no, we're not. And I gave my basic speech of what I just gave here. Is like, no, families forever. I mean, I classically do not like my first level family, like my parents and my sister. I mean, I get along with them. It's just a thing, but they're my family. Yeah, I take my kids over there. Yes, I say happy Father's Day, happy birthdays. I do care about them on some level, even though there's just a lot of separation. I guess separation is a better word for us. But they will always be there. If I felt the same way about somebody I worked at, I don't give two craps that you're gone, right? There's just that level there for me. So when I'm building this team, I swear I really had to focus people on, say, look, we're a team. This is still a job. This is still, at the end of the day, what we're doing is working for a company. We're putting numbers on the board, even though we're all personally invested. We all will be financially invested in the near future as we're getting things right with bonus stuff. And we believe in the vision and the culture. But at the end of the day, it's a company. And we're a team. And that's what I bought you. And they argue, I mean, fun in a fun way. They argue with me like, man, it sounds like family. I was like, I get what you're saying. I'm not banning you from saying it's a family. I'm telling you, as the head of this thing, I'm never going to call it a family, because as a team, I'm calling the plays. And there will come a time when I cannot see the right plays to call anymore, and somebody's got to replace me as that head coach. Same as a quarterback. That quarterback moves up to a coach, so on and so forth. Sometimes you just have a bad season and you go to another team. Doesn't mean we don't want to talk to each other. Doesn't mean we'll be happy to see each other. But at the end of the day, we are achieving a unified goal together. And as long as our interests align, we're here. Am I friendly with them? Am I invested in their lives? Yeah. Yeah, I know their kids. I know their families. I know what's going on with them. And they know some of what's going on with me. But at the end of the day, at 3 a.m, if I have a fight with my wife, I'm not calling them. And I'm not calling you boys either, because I know you're asleep. You're not answering the phone. But there's just, anyway, I just have a real trigger hang up when like we're a family, and we all responded initially like when we hear, oh, companies, we're a family, because that is the crappiest corporate twisted thing. Like everything in corporate can be great. We've talked about salaries before, but the idea of the basic idea of salary can be a good thing. The basic idea of a union can be a good thing, but it has, as a word, been twisted also in some execution is the word I'm looking for, has been twisted. And I think for me, that's families. When a company stands up and goes, we're a family, and then but we're selling the business out from under everybody, and we're taking big checks, and you're not getting anything. Yeah, okay, there are moms and dads who'll do that to their kids. That's just not my family, not even the separated part. So, okay, Joe, what do you have to say there, smarty pants? The real reason Charles doesn't want to call it a family is because that would make him the father, and he doesn't want to pay the child support. Hey, with that, we can skip the bad dad jokes. Awesome.
Roll that dice.
Because Charles is the bad dad joke.
Oh. Random kid says, while you roll that dice, random kid says, being family means you have to tolerate them to a certain degree, but that's about it in my book. That's fair. We do have people come to Easter and Christmas that we tolerate, and we smile and we're nice to them, but it is not ideal, I guess.